guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be doing a makeup tutorial and finally like answering you guys. I've been getting so many DMs and comments asking me like what I use for my makeup and to give you guys a makeup tutorial. So today's the day that I actually do this. Yeah, this makeup is honestly so light, like I honestly wear it every day, and I also have acne prone skin, so I make sure that my products are non-comedogenic, so that means like it doesn't clog my pores, and really make sure that if I train with my makeup, I'm not breaking out afterwards. Yeah, let's stop yapping and literally get into it because I'm excited to show you what I use to do this look. Alright, I look crazy right now with these under eye patches, but I really like putting them on before doing my makeup just because it like preps my under eye for my concealer and everything. I already prepped my skin and I'm going to just run you through what I use for skincare. It's not related to makeup. I went in with the Rhode glazing milk. I love this stuff. I honestly don't use moisturizer before doing my makeup. I literally just use this. And Merit's Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. So this has hyaluronic acid and niacinamide. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing my makeup because I want to take these off. I'm gonna keep them on a little longer, and while they're on, I'm actually gonna do my eyebrows and show you what I use for that. So when I do my eyebrows, I actually have two things that I love. So first one, this one is what I use every day. It's the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. My everyday brow gel because it's more of like just it brushes my brows and keeps them in place. But whenever I'm doing more of like a glam look to go out and everything, I love the Rare Beauty like brow gel. I like using this for every day because it's more natural and subtle. Also, I'm looking down here because I have a mirror. So the brush has like two sides, one that is longer with longer bristles and then one that is shorter. What I like to do is brush the product in with like first put it all in with the long one and then kind of like press down my brow with the shorter side. And if you can tell, it's also flat on one side. So the flat side, I kind of like use it while using the shorter side to kind of press my brow on my face and not have it move throughout the day. There's not really any specific tutorial for my brows. I just kind of like put the product on and like kind of play around with them until I like them. I'm blessed with pretty thick brows, so I'm glad that like I usually never fill them in for an everyday. I just use this brow gel and that's all. But sometimes when I'm going like to an event or something, I might fill them in a little more. But for an everyday, just this, and then we're good to go. What I like to go in with, I actually don't like putting foundation on every day. Like it's too heavy on my skin and I don't like to work out with foundation. I like to actually go in with this Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. What I like about this is that it doesn't really have any coverage to it. It just kind of adds a color and there's like glow in it. Like it really gives my face a glow. But if I were to use foundation like when I go out, I love the Haus shade Light Medium Neutral. And I love this foundation. It's honestly my favorite foundation. Even like when I'm doing my glam look, it's still natural and looks like skin but better. Anyway, I just kind of like use it all over my face and I only do one dip. I don't dip twice. And to blend all of this, I like to use the Haus like double-sided brush. Alright, now that all that is blended out, that's the time where I would go in with concealer. But I use like two different type of concealers. So I use one to cover my blemishes and another one is for my under eye. So first I'm gonna go in with the one where I cover my blemishes. I use this one and I just kind of like, well actually I don't necessarily use it to cover my blemishes. I like to put it here around my nose and then like over here. Then I go in with like on the little spots that like kind of need concealing. And then I go ahead and blend it with the same brush I use to blend my Flawless Filter. So I just pat the brush. I don't really rub it because I kind of want the product to stay in the same spot. And I go in with my favorite product and it's bronzer. When I tell you I put bronzer, I paint my face with bronzer literally because I'm pale and I like to be bronzed. I first go in with a cream bronzer and I like to do it before putting concealer on like on my under eye because after I put my bronzer on, I kind of use the concealer to clean it up. I use a Rare Beauty liquid contour in the shade Serene. I like to put 2 dots right here. When I tell you I paint my face with bronzer, oh my god, no, my hijab touched it. Because now there's makeup on my hijab. Honestly, I don't know if that's disgusting, but I'm going to put it on my nose. That's the process. I was going to put bronzer on there anyway. But then I put some here as well, and then a dot on my forehead. I'm actually just gonna use whatever is left on the brush and kind of like put it on my eyelid just to kind of have my eyelids match the rest of my face. Now I'm actually going to go in with my concealer that I put on my under eye. But this is the concealer. Kind of just like do a little blob dot. It's not a dot and it's not like the sort of triangle you do in 2016. Honestly, that's all I put for concealer. Whenever I blend my concealer, I like to powder it directly after, or else it'll crease. Before I start blending, literally before I even like touch the beauty blender to my face, I prepare my powder. So the powder I use is the Huda Beauty. This is my favorite powder ever. Like, I've been using it for actually years now. And what I like to do, we got the powder right here. I take my powder puff and then I literally prepare it before blending my concealer. So I first put the powder on my powder puff and then I kind of like dab the excess off on my hand, because I learned that if you actually blend your concealer and it's still so wet and then you use a full-on powder puff full of powder on it, it'll crease. And I just blend my under eye. Directly when I'm done blending, I just go in with my powder puff and then set my under eye. And then I bring it down to like my cheek right here. Boom. There you go. That's all I do for concealer. From here, that's when I go in with my powder bronzer. Honestly, alternate between two bronzers. I have two that I really love. So I have the Charlotte Tilbury one. Honestly, probably everyone and their mom has it, but it's literally insane. I love it so much. It's a really great bronzer. Then I also have the Haus Labs. Honestly, just alternate between both. I don't really have a favorite. Today I'm gonna go in with my Charlotte one. I like to go in with the powder bronzer after, because whenever I powder my face, it kind of gets like the cream one kind of fades in a way. So I like to kind of revive it by putting the powder one on top, and it kind of sets the cream bronzer as well. Now with the same powder bronzer, what I do is I actually take a smaller brush, kind of like this size. Oh, by the way, the bronzer, the brush I used to put bronzer on is the Sephora 59 one. The same bronzer that I used, I would go in with a smaller brush. This one's another Sephora one, but it came in a pack. Whatever kind of flat brush you have that kind of looks like that works. Go in with a little amount, and I kind of use it as eyeshadow. Just because like it looks weird if my face is tan and then my eyelids aren't. With that same brush, I also like to contour my nose. I'm really bad at contouring my nose, honestly, so I try, but I go in with a little amount and then I kind of like do a line like this. After drawing that line, whatever is left on the brush, I kind of just like put it down my bridge like that, like the bridge of my nose. Last thing I like to add when I'm contouring my nose is like where my nostrils are. I like to kind of do a line like that, and it kind of gives that like lifted nose effect. It gives an illusion, and I like doing that. I don't know if it helps really, but that's how I contour my nose. For an everyday blush, this is the shade She Goes to the Gym from patrickta. This is honestly my go-to everyday blush. And not gonna lie, I bought it for the name. If a bronzer and a blush had a baby, this is the color that it would make. And if I want more of like an orangey look, I like to go with this YSL powder blush. This is in the shade Make Me Blush. It's really a really pretty color, but it's a little bit more orangey. I feel like the camera isn't gonna pick that up. Maybe a little, yeah. For today, I'm gonna use the patrickta one. And I drag my blush from up here to down here. And I only do this with this color because it kind of allows me to. It looks like kind of like when you're at the gym and then you're like sweating and then your cheeks become red. I'm honestly pretty much done with my base. Last thing I would go in with is actually highlighter. The YSL highlighter, I've been using this for quite recently, honestly. That's pretty much all for my base. And then for my lip liner, I only use Makeup Forever lip liners because they're just unbeatable. They're my favorite. I don't think I could ever use any other lip liner. I've tried so many and I keep going back to this one. I go back and forth with two shades. Sometimes I use my Wherever Walnut one, and sometimes I use the Anywhere Caffeine. I really think I'm gonna crash out because my camera keeps overheating and literally just shutting down. But I go in with the Rhode Peptide Lip Tint in the shade Ribbon. just to finish off my lip combo. And that is all for what I use for my makeup and how I do my makeup. I'm also gonna put everything in the caption. That is all for today's video, and I'll see you in my next one.